Taurus, good morning. Hello. Welcome to your weekly reading. We're jumping ahead to the week of November 17th through to the 24th. So, this is the last leg of Scorpio season. And this being the sun in your seventh house, we're just going to let Mother Peace take a break. It feels like you guys have been waiting expectantly for something to come through. And maybe what's come through has been sort of a shock. Our first two cards from the crystal deck. So our intention, polychrome jasper, and what's holding us back from attaining our intention is appetite. On this card is number 19, and that is a Taurian signature. The cards I see, Seven of Discs, jumped out right away. And it seems like maybe you guys, I see, classic. You all have maybe put on pause a few projects, maybe relating to music, writing, and it's been due to some changes that have gone on within a relationship dynamic. And this is sort of like the outer lying issue. Um, and with the square, we're building. We want to build something. And in our relationships, we want dynamic encounters. We want to feel special. This is completely normal. And it feels like the eighth house season, we're going to get clear on why we felt powerless to change our circumstances or to make something completely new. For the action required, we have soulmate. So maybe your projects are your soulmate. The ways that you interact with what you love, with what you have to do, brings people to you who are enchanted, Taurus, by how you express yourself, by how you are able to manifest. They're so shocked. We have Carnelian, artist stone. It's very healing, and it's showing up under the Emperor. So you might have had some seeds planted in your head, Taurus, over the past year that kind of led you to doubt yourself, to doubt your artistic gifts, to doubt what you have to say being clear or effective or meaningful. And yeah, it just feels like our family relationships, the way that we grew up, could be blocking our intention from, us seeing how much potential we have and how euphoric people feel after encountering us in our flow state, after we've harnessed that focus to create something. We have mana for what's holding us back. It's going to be, I think, we have to improve our relationships. We have to start from there. So, the relationship we have to ourself, the relationship that we have to our time, the relationship that we have to the things that we know we don't want to invest our time or energy into, but we have to show up anyways. A VE and soulmate. So it feels like a maybe ancient connection, past life connection. Maybe you and this person who either you've had an issue with a falling out, they were holding you back all year, or someone who is coming in is someone who maybe you guys have shared an incarnation together where, I'm looking at these two cards, they kind of look the same. Like maybe you and this person worked really hard in a past life to attain that enlightenment, and they're reminding you of what you can do, of who you are. These are the best relationships. This is a sign that you're dishing that out because we're going to get it back tenfold. Whatever we're dishing out, we're getting back tenfold. Nalu, I love how Nalu looks like some of this carnelian, although it's meant to be lava, volcanic rock. It's a very healing stone, a protective stone, and it's a stone for artists. So, Taurus, if you got some art projects that you're working on, I feel that now Mother Peace or the Kantigi Oracle can really help us to zone in on what we could do to really understand that, yes, our project is worth our time of investment and that consistent focus that it produces within us. We got the Exploding Star. This is a new deck for me, and this is one of their better paintings. You can't really see the colors, but regardless, one of their better paintings, the Exploding Star. I think it'll help me to clarify by reading this one. It's 27. And also for the week ahead, we have the sun going through Sagittarius. So and likely finishing in Pisces. So let's see. I believe that we have our new moon happening here pretty soon. Yeah, new moon in Sagittarius on the 20th. So this week it will be in Scorpio. Currently, the moon is in the sign of Libra. So it's interesting how it all comes together. 28 degrees Scorpio. So over the course of this week, we have the moon, I guess, void, of course, a long time on the 17th, but this is going to be highlighting Taurus, the artistry that we are exuding in our day to day life. And I believe that we'll encounter what is blocking us from taking the reins, from really feeling like, I got this. I'm in the pocket. God's got me. I got this. I'm working towards my goals. I'm taking steps. That polychrome jasper will help too. Aha, the pivot archetype. Long, long ago, we were atoms of a star. We danced a great fiery dance that glinted in the infinite darkness until the star exploded. Then we shot through lightless void until we merged into a planet where we danced an undulating liquid dance that awakened a living world. Apex and a pivot point. This is so awesome, Taurus. Good for you all. Connect with source power, create, explode, dissipate, gather, and recreate with the most essential of building blocks. Remember your infinite origin. Yeah, it almost feels like because of this emperor and how shady they are and how vulnerable the seven of discs figure is, it's almost like, and they have their backs turned to each other. You manifested something with someone in the past year. We want a clean slate going into 2026, the year of the snake shedding its skin all year. And perhaps that stop to our creative project, that stop to feeling motivated to take on these big challenges is requiring a pivot. We just have to pivot and understand that we don't have to be the same person that we were at the start of this year. Even if at the start of this year we thought, this is the year, I'm building this, I'm scaling this. We have to make sure that we enjoy it. We have to make sure that it's something that we can continue to do and that we are still aligned with. Oh, wow. This archetype indicates an opportunity to connect with source power. Of course, it does. It challenges you to do the following: expand your consciousness. So stop thinking about the person who hurt you, did you wrong, did you dirty. If you're giving them more than like 15 minutes a day of reflection, but it's not actually like journaling, productive reflection, I'm getting this off of my chest, I'm letting this go, recognize you're still manifesting in that energy. You're still including this person in your energetic signature with your thoughts, with your feelings, and you draw their energy towards you. Make sure that if you're doing this, it's in a way that's conducive to you attaining that sense of completion. We are not yet in Capricorn season, but once we start that climb, we want to make sure that our beliefs are set. We want to make sure that we have great boundaries. And towards this past week, we were dancing the dance of boundaries. So a lot might have come up for you to resolve, to not have to, speak negatively about the love that you've had in your life, to really cherish it, and then also to allow for things to dissolve and fall away that are no longer serving us. And it might feel like, I'm looking at the various readings that I wrote down. Our ego could tell us that we've reached the end, that our projects never will come to fruition. But we see that this lady's pregnant with a bunch of growing watermelons. So it's not true. Whatever you've been taught to believe, whatever you've been telling yourself, check it for truth. Let something explode into nothingness. Can we allow for that to happen, or do we have to control it? It has to be this kind of nothingness. Embrace paradox, feel simultaneously as a part of both the vastness and the intricacy of the universe. Allow something to come to its fullest expression. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, perfect. Let something explode into nothingness again and reconnect with the most basic building blocks in order to reweave the fabric of your reality. So that's our square. Our building block is a square. So as a portal, Ask yourself, what if I reweave the fabric of my life into a beautiful new pattern? And what if I have the luminosity of a star? I'm here to tell you, you do. And I'm also here to explain what these crystals have to say. So let's get into it. The Pohaku is our relationships, and it feels like our relationships are changing. We have polychrome jasper at 31 and bohaku at 36. It's the phallic stone. I visited it. It's real. It looks like this, proving that we did shoot from supernovas and we did form on a planet for billions of years. And whether or not you believe that, we have the divine design of an all powerful creator, you know? That's what I believe. And we belong. We belong within our family. We belong within the giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt. We belong pivoting. We belong keeping everything we've worked for and then allowing for it to be fulfilled in some new way that we will, of course, Mercury retrograde style, we'll be refreshed by. We might feel reinvigorated. I believe that we're in the retrograde shadow until maybe like the 4th of December. So I'm going to, excuse me, might be a little bit longer, maybe the second week of December. The retrograde ends on December 29th. And from there, we will be, oh, great, marching on out of there. Mercury will be out of shadow. Whoa. Yep. About December 17th. So I honestly expect for our life to come full circle. I do expect for it to, because we're going to have Black Moon Lilith and conjoined Venus on that day. Um, it feels like where our heart wants to go and maybe the shame that we have around it now will shift over the next few weeks. So allow for yourself to explore in new ways how you belong with your uniqueness, your unique cavities, your unique phalluses, your unique. And I don't mean that in a grotesque way. I just mean it in a way that's like the ideas you have, the practices that you love to do. Maybe you had an ex who didn't really appreciate those things about you. Their loss, you know? Big changes are in the offing. Concentrate on love this. Concentrate on practical outcomes. Be down to earth, but pay attention to your dreams. So, Taurus, when we ignore our dreams, we allow for other people to ignore our dreams. Others treat us just how we treat ourselves. So we have to show up to our life willing to treat ourselves really remarkably well if we want that same remarkably good treatment. Balance your emotional energies and nurture yourself to find joy. And that's kind of what I feel like this is. This is nurturing yourself, tapping into your interests, creating art, surfing the waves of your emotions and of your life. So this also could have been you, Taurus. You all do represent emperor energy in so many ways. And maybe it's like this came through for I believe Cancer or Capricorn. So you could be dealing with one of those or have placements in your chart. Your divine feminine, your divine masculine. They just so happen to be on these sides as well. Feminine energies on the left, masculine energies on the right. If you suffer sinus stuff, it's your inner channels, it's your inner energetic channels letting you know, hey, masculine side, you're doing too much, you're doing too much heavy lifting. Feminine side, you're not allowing yourself to be creative and flow. As we go into the change of seasons, you know, you guys see me, I ate dairy a couple weeks ago and kind of a lot of it, and some meat. But it's one of those things where it's like my body's alerting me, hey, this is throwing off your inner. Your outer is going to be thrown off. So if our inner is thrown off, our outer gets thrown off too. So if the thoughts we're thinking are very toxic feminine, toxic masculine, we're going to start to make choices, take actions that also dysregulate the outer. And we have sinus issues, or we have, you know, we get sick and we have to come back into balance, into alignment. So it's holding us back. And I think the key is to breathe, to allow for ourselves to feel good about where we belong and that trust that we really do belong, because that's what polychrome jasper speaks to, is belonging. Healing and forgiveness sent down your family line will replace dis-ease with well-being. So some of us need to light a candle for our ancestors. The veil is still very thin. We're in the month of November, Scorpio season, all that good stuff. And maybe your ancestors struggled with what you're struggling with now. They may not have done it in the same ways. A lot of their skills and artistic creations could have been towards theater, or that's still performing. Could have been towards weaving baskets, but maybe they weren't allowed to use the fancy cobalt blue color. That came to mind right away, that they wanted to in their dyes. Maybe they couldn't find them, or, other people bought it out. Someone got their land bought. We're going to heal that through trusting, like, I have everything I need. I have every resource I need. I'm going to keep going. And I also can take breaks. And when I'm reflecting, I don't have to think, oh, all of this has been a failure. I'm going around in circles. I'm not making any breakthrough, because you are, Taurus. You are. Trust that you are. Appetite is acceptance. So that's a big one. Accepting where we are, just as we are, knowing that it is more than enough. Appetite works at the interface between consciousness and matter to let go of what is outworn in your life. Your intuition knows what's best for you. Use your perspicacity, move away from aloofness or social alienation. So that's where I feel like we could be carrying that grief, that burden of, I don't belong here. Look at all this stuff that I have. I don't know if I want it. Is it really worth me continuing to struggle with these dualities within myself of, the work isn't good enough? Look, take her away. You know, I'm unhappy with my creations. It looks like you have a lot of abundance, Taurus, regardless. So we have to cultivate balance and integrity within our divine feminine and divine masculine inside, so that on the outside, we start to have that reflected too. So be inspired, discern truth within, recognize what's real in your world, and restructure your reality. So the action required, and maybe it's like we haven't been holding ourselves accountable. We haven't been keeping ourselves in check, to make sure that we are conscious co-creators of our reality. We could just be going through the motions, Taurus, which is something to note when you start to go through the motions or feel like there's nothing else. You're locked in to something that you're not enjoying, because there's a story under that. And then from there, we can uncover the ancestral patterning, the DNA, the lack of harmony that we are being invited to bring into our lives. Excuse me. So the action required to create a future you can be grateful for. I feel like there's a level of respect that we have, to not talk about people, to not gossip. You're speaking of someone who's not in the room. Their name is in your mouth, but they're not there. That's gossip. Hold off on doing that and start to look within to see, how you might be seeing yourself outside of yourself through these people who trigger you, who maybe upset you. They could be doing any number of things, whether the choices that you're making in response are valid or not will depend on how you feel around taking those actions. So if you don't feel good constantly having to go against someone, and there's this cycle that feels very, much like it's a distraction, we have to be willing to see, how much am I like this person? What can I do to reframe my day, restructure my reality to where I'm not giving away this time? I don't have 20 minutes to sit and chat. I have to take that 20 minutes and like get moving, make a couple things, make a few calls, get some work done. Retraining ourselves to isolate in ways that allow for us to function really well, and then rejoin the group when we can. It also feels like we have some work to do with our ancestry. So looking through your family line, thinking back to those, I think it's like 1,300 people required for us to be here now today. There has to be some story. And another astrologer made an interesting point of thinking and contemplating us incarnating through our genetic line. I see an atom in this card, so it's speaking to the most subtle forms of energy, our DNA, the structure of our reality, and how we're rebuilding kind of stuff. I'm testing my air purifier theory. They're not in the room right now, so gotta move them back in, clearly. Whoa, big one. So this is very interesting, and speaking to love coming in too. You yearn to be loved, but does this come from a black hole you need to fill? Black holes can be filled only from the inside by loving yourself fully. There you go. Masculine and feminine sides within ourselves and integrating different facets of your being. A twin flame means embracing deep intimacy and interdependency between yourself and another at the spiritual and physical levels. Divination. Old heartbreak may need to be healed, ties with a past companion cut, or vows renegotiated. Yeah, it kind of looks like, this person, the spirit is traveling because it's an ancestor who might have passed away, and they're requiring that you go on this journey. The ancestral shark is traveling with the boat, and maybe it's like you're really sending something off. I see a lot of cloud-shaped animals, so it's sort of like the spirit realm might be contacting you before you meet your twin flame because you've met your twin flame, or because you're in the process of letting go of someone who you really did believe was your twin flame, Taurus. Prepare for open-hearted, intimate, unconditional love. Decide whether you want a soulmate with the soul essence that implies, or a twin flame, a companion of your heart. Beautiful. So it's an unconditional, mutually supportive union. Um, and it feels like you guys haven't had that, or you're learning how to have that now. You're learning how to have that real time with someone. And it's requiring that we're about to have a huge day of, excuse me, net 25s in the chart tomorrow on the 17th. It's going to start us out. I'm reading this on Sunday, November 16th. And this is going to be a day where it'll be very clear in between Monday, the 17th, timeless reading though, and Tuesday, the 18th, what you have to do, what strides you have to make, what you have to drop. You might find yourself talking to someone and be like, I've told this story so many times. How is the story still ongoing in my life? And you see here, finances, work obligations, social life, um, outside of work commitments. It all revolves around the story that I'm telling myself. But that's not who I am. I belong having good relationships. I belong cultivating inner peace and accepting myself. I belong with an unconditional love that is interdependent and fully supportive. What I don't belong with is getting so angry and volatile that I can't build the next phase of my reality. I'm learning how to anchor. I'm learning how to be present. And whatever is going to detract from that presence, from that fully supportive, fully available self, and also with boundaries, the network of boundaries, we have our boundaries sussed out and our relationships. We're not going to call asking for help for something we could resolve ourselves. We're making sure that we are in integrity, and, in awareness of, hey, this feels familiar. This feels ancestral. It feels like this is way bigger than me. This is when we ask that infinitely powerful creator for help. Pray. Okay, carnelian is creativity. Pray for creativity too, because the divine might surprise you in how you get it, like what tools come in, what mentors are available, what projects you could be a part of. Carnelian protects against spells, envy, and the evil eye, bringing good fortune to the wearer. It prevents blood from rushing to the head to cause thoughtless action. Be eloquent, creative, and bold. Don't back down. And this guy's surfing right towards the shoreline. Trust your intuitive perceptions. Distinction in your career lies ahead. Cheers. Be a mentor, alleviate stress, take time to play. You are a tower of strength during sorrow. Stay anchored in the present. Let go of emotional ties or outdated projects holding you back. Beware a charismatic person. Sufficient vitamins and minerals support your metabolism for optimum well being. I know that we're in winter, and lucky me, I live in the tropics. If you can't get outside into the sun, make sure that you get your sun lamp or something that will make sure you have sufficient vitamin D. Invest in your air quality, as you see. It's something that I'm working on too. And make sure that you're setting aside time every day to get creative. It's something that, like, you'll know where you need it in your life, whatever project you've been dreaming up, and just know it takes about up to 60 seconds a day to put on a short on YouTube. Or, by the way, if you're watching the stars, give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Thank you so much. It helps me out. But it takes under 60 seconds to make something that you can make content around. It's just how we've gotten into our own head and the distortion that we're weaving through. And to, the fact is, we have to remind ourselves, and maybe it'll be on this Mars day, Mars in Sagittarius, your eighth house, reminding us what steps to take to remember, hey, you are from greatness, you are of greatness. Everything that you want to achieve and give to the world will be great. Okay, so the creative prompt, because we do need to get creative this week, Taurus, break a successfully completed work down to its most essential building blocks and use those to create a whole new work, take it in a completely different direction, and create a work that conveys the power, expansion, and luminosity of a supernova. Ecological connection. While our sun will not undergo a supernova, that's not what Sandra Walters says, and our planet is not likely to explode, the Earth is said to become a star, by the way. Earth is populated with eruptive volcanoes. Scientists have found there's a direct correlation between glaciers and volcanoes. Wow. When glaciers spread over vaster parts of the Earth, there are fewer volcanic eruptions, and magma is put under a great deal of pressure. Once the glaciers recede, as they are in our current age of global warming, volcanic activity surges, and magma is able to come to the surface and erupt. This is yet another reason to reduce one's carbon footprint, which will help slow global warming. I don't know if that's really true, but yes, it is at the same time. So just, if our intention is set on what we can do, yes, we will affect the outcome. Once a volcano does erupt, chlorofluorocarbons will enter our atmosphere from refrigerants, fire retardants, and aerosol sprays attach to the aerosol of volcanic eruptions and cause chemical reactions that destroy our protective ozone layer, thus further increasing global warming. This is a good reason to curb any use of aerosol sprays. So, spray painters, maybe it's time to pivot. If any of you guys are working with spray paint, just know that the artists in New York, there are a lot of graffiti artists, but there is one art group, Colossal, where they do the old fashioned technique of like using chalk to outline their drawings, and they are working with oil paints, but a lot of it is some sort of paint for buildings, not spray paint. Gets a very beautiful, vivid, artistic message across. While we don't necessarily have means to capture the carbon that's being put into the atmosphere, there are choices that we can make, Taurus, that will help you to feel like, yes, I am cultivating a future that I can be grateful for. And the steps to take are really to connect more deeply into this concept of a twin flame and let go of whoever might be holding you back. Taurus, great reading. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Aloha.